Hi guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Today is Saturday, January 20th. Silver is at 17.16 and gold is at 12.11. And I wanted to get into some of the economic news. All right, so we had a new president sworn in. There's a lot of urgency and alert that is going on in the Chinese markets. A lot of concern over China's currency, over their currency collapse. We see a lot of money and capital flowing out of the Chinese stock markets based upon some of Donald Trump's newest statements that he's made. And also another thing we have to look out for in China's economy, they have just stopped the Bitcoin trading because what they were experiencing, what they were afraid of, they wanted to make sure they had control over Bitcoin because Chinese money and wealth was able to be transferred from China out of the country. And this is not something they normally allow to take place. Like, you can move from China, but you can't take your wealth with you. So Bitcoin offered because they want to keep the money in the country, they want to keep control of the people. And so with this Bitcoin and the popularity of it over in China, what they found was they needed to go in and to investigate it. That's why we saw this massive drop in the Bitcoin value recently, is because all Chinese sales in Bitcoin were stopped. And so, but the Chinese market, the Chinese government favors gold. They think it's such a valuable asset. So allowing imports of gold has not stopped in China, but in fact, they encourage their citizens to buy gold. So with them still wanting to preserve their wealth and them heading into this massive currency crisis, they're going to see a possible sharp rise in the price of gold, and thus silver. We see a lot of instability that will be entering the markets. Another thing that is key to look out for is we have some trade policies going to be taking effect, or so they say. We know that we have seen a recent immediate executive order within 1 hour of him taking office, suppressing the Obamacare, at least repealing the parts that are damaging to the economy or to individuals. So we're going to see some things shaking up. What we see is a leader who has been selected, and as soon as he is signed into law, this is not waiting for Congress or the House to act, but is going in and taking steps to be able to do whatever he can to make law on his own, just like all the previous presidents that we've had before this. And it seems to be the way that the country is going. We've seen a lot of unrest recently in D.C., in Los Angeles, even in Pittsburgh. So we saw a lot of protests, a lot of marching, and they say that they want to set the tone for this administration, for this government. They want to continue to do that. We see on simply the notion of a strong economy. Now, this is it. You know, we see the way that the media manipulates the people's opinions about the president. Well, there just seems to be a constant battle about everything that is said or done. And the reason that we should keep our eye out on this for economic news is the fact that we know that there are major powers that are willing to manipulate information. And we saw Janet Yellen come out last week from the Federal Reserve and announce that the economy, we're very close to meeting our economic goals. Unemployment is almost at zero. So we should see some big rate hikes coming down the line that they expect with this strong economy. You even see propaganda pieces in the news that are explaining how we have this great economy under the Obama administration, the Obama economy being so great. And really, when you look around, look at you. I mean, we just had an article in the Wall Street Journal reporting that they had completely undervalued the amount of student loan debts. That is, people have not even paid $1 in the past 7 years. So we see that the crisis is much worse much, much worse, and things are not getting better. Around the country, we see the standard of living has dropped dramatically for most families. And to think it doesn't, I mean, the credit card debt, the credit debt, I mean, half of our country is surviving only on credit at this point. And they're going to tighten up the reins a little bit, even on the major lending. And so, I mean, there was a time in this country not too long ago, and you think that they're not stripping us away from our wealth when there could be one breadwinner, one person working in the family. And it was a part of this breakdown that eventually they allowed two people to work, and now both of you are working. Both the members are working, and even this, you get your kids out getting jobs. Everybody's chipping in. You have to take out credit cards. You can't buy a car anymore. You have to finance it or lease it. Yeah. And the days are long gone in which we had enough free capital to be able to just make decisions like that, to where we were owning things. And in most of our cities, most of the people there, they don't really end up ever owning things. They end up renting, pretty much renting their life, renting their car, extremely high insurance, extremely high rents. They're just bleeding the people dry, so that we get caught in this inevitable cycle where we must work above 40 hours a week. We must continuously work, and it's never enough. It's never enough. They're moving the retirement age back. So you must continue to work until you really have nothing left, and they hope that enough of people will die. We know the Social Security was always a scheme. It was invented by Hitler in Germany, and it was just a plan that they figured the life expectancy was low at that point, and they set it 2 years above the average life expectancy, and the plan was to have people put their money into a common fund, and most of the people who would be retiring, they expected would be gone by then, so they would end up, therefore, keeping the money. And so this is why we see them pushing back to retirement age. People are working longer and having less. They're working more. And before you know it, 40 hours isn't enough. Your standard of living must change. The type of food you get must change. And what do they say? More inflation is coming. That inflation is ready to set in to dangerous levels. It's already coming back. These countries are bleeding out treasuries. The Chinese are dumping U.S. treasuries at an increased rate, more and more every month. They're going down. They're bleeding the dollars. They don't want to hold them anymore. They don't see them as a stable unit of currency. And this money's just not disappearing. Where do you think it's going? It's coming back to our country. We don't want to use your paper anymore, and they're no longer buying the treasury bonds for the United States. They're also bleeding them as well. So we see that this economy is not getting better, and it's just the news trying to tell everybody that it's so great, just to be able to smear whatever administration is coming in. Just like a lot of the propaganda pieces, it's to cause the people to redirect their anger, their frustrations towards this not very favorable to the media president that has just stepped in. When we know that all of the things that, when you make changes in the economy, they take years to take effect. And so the results of what we see coming now has already been done. And more than that, they've been propping up this market. They had the quantitative easing that they just ease off of. They've been printing money and putting it into the system just to hold it up, hold it together. And at any time that they want, it will come crashing down. And we know that the exact person that they want in the office when this thing collapses is there now, because they don't like his policies. They don't like this American nationalism policies. I mean, this World Bank, this Federal Reserve does control the other world banks. They are all essentially one corporate entity, one monolithic banking cartel. And so the one person that stands in their way, that is representing nationalism and sovereignty and independent citizens' wealth, and the recovering economy, it puts the United States in a position of power where they no longer can have the exact controls or be able to bleed the country anymore. So the exact person they want when this economy comes crashing down will be is in office right now. Because when it comes crashing down, then you can already hear the headlines about the Trump recession, the Trump stock market crash, the Trump economy has just been terrible. His economic plans are bad. And then what we do, we'll get the opposite. We'll have things moving in the opposite direction. They'll put people in, we'll raise minimum wage, interest goes higher. And so now is the time to buy silver and buy gold while you have the time. You need to be aware of these things and keep your eyes out and keep yourself safe. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. Remember, if you like the content, be sure to subscribe. There'll be more videos like this. Like the video, share the videos. Leave a comment in the comment box, any suggestions you might have. And again, thank you guys for stopping by the Silver Report. You have a great day.